Welcome back to the Born and Bred Podcast. We are your hosts, Brendan Gallagher
and Maria Lynn.
Be sure to check out our sponsor,
Haunting Hill Wines, located in Mount Clair, West Virginia.
We want to thank them and all of our other sponsors who help make this possible. Maria, why don't we jump into our next segment that you are going to spearhead?
Okay, Brendan, but am I really spearheading it if you're telling me that I'm going to spearhead it?
I'm going to
feels like you took over the introduction.
I am going to sit back.
You're introduced my introduction.
I'm just giving you an intro, but I'm going to sit back and let you go.
All right, this is the segment in our podcast where we talk about our wild and wonderful notes. You know how West Virginia is both wild and wonderful? And you know how notes can be a note and it's also a musical note, and this is a music podcast? We're getting deep, people. Our wild and wonderful notes can be anything, just wild and wonderful that have happened in our lives. It doesn't have to be music related. It could be something we've observed, something weird happened in our life. These are our wild and wonderful notes. Brendan, you go first with your wild notes.
Wild. I got a wild on the way down here. So we are actually sitting in Princeton, West Virginia, recording this episode as we are here for the Create Your State Conference.
People be creating and stating how they're creating in the state of West Virginia.
Absolutely. And we ended up taking a detour down a back road by accident on the way here. And the wild thing for me...
The gracious thing he's not telling you is that I was driving.
That's okay.
Thanks.
But the wild thing about that road here is that...
This is a good one.
Yeah, and
this is very West Virginia.
This is true of so many roads in West Virginia. You look and you think, oh, that's where the road goes. Mm-hmm. And then you get there.
Oh, okay.
And the road is gone.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Like the road just... Like, you look like you can keep going straight,
yeah.
but also, no, you got to veer to the left quick before you die.
We could have died. We could have.
So
we didn't.
That's always been, like, for me growing up here, even knowing roads, it's still, there's so many roads you go down, you're like, oh, yeah, this one is just going to abruptly turn left, and it does not, you can't tell that till you're right on it.
Right on.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump right off of that so tangentially. For me, a wild note is how there are roads here in West Virginia that have no business being a two-way road, and yet they are. Like, on this same sojourn, I was like, but if a car came now and I had to, quote-unquote, pull over, we could fall to our deaths.
Well, and let's make it clear here that you drive a small, compact car that still...
We got to do a shot for Samuel James.
Nice.
He has a song called Compact Car. You can go look at it. Look it up, I mean.
But still, like, yeah, you're right. Like, it just felt like you can't go anywhere.
No.
I don't know how another vehicle would have passed us. Thank God nobody did.
No, it's like in Harry Potter when they have that bus thing and it, like, goes down this, like, narrow alley and it just gets the bus just gets skinnier. It's like that's the expectation, that we just all just magically narrow.
So there's this known rule amongst West Virginia drivers that when you're on a road like that, everybody just goes off to the right a little bit so that your tires drop just a hair and you just squeeze by each other. And
like, are we folding in mirrors for this moment or not at all?
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. I have seen people reach out of their vehicle and 100% pull in a mirror. Sometimes you got to do that. But yeah, so that is definitely something that is a little, I mean, that's definitely the wild part of West Virginia.
Yeah. What's your next wild, Brendan?
My next wild is the way musicians, this is something I was thinking about yesterday, are the musical landscape has changed so much. And I think about Emily Adele and
the Hot Mess.
And the reason I'm talking about them is I was writing about them in their new release yesterday.
That was a good song.
It's a great song called Thankful. And
everybody go listen to Thankful by Emily Adele and the Hot Mess.
But the crazy thing is how quickly they're putting out tracks.
I think I had this thought yesterday when it came out where I was like, oh, wow, they have another one already. Cool.
Yeah, and they have consistently put out new music over this last year.
Yeah.
And it's just a different day and age where bands are able to do these quick turnarounds and put out, oh, I've got this song idea, let's go record it and put it out.
Yes, both the day and the age are different, you're right.
Indeed. Indeed. But it used to be, like, when you were growing up in the 90s, even early thousands, aughts, as they call them, You had to wait 2 to 3 years before your band you liked put out.
When I was 6 years old, I did have to wait that long. Sorry, please continue.
Anyhow, you had to wait 2 to 3 years before your favorite band put out a new album.
Right.
Because they put out the album, they go tour on it. Bands don't do that anymore. They'll be like, hey, they can actually record in their bus now, or they just find a studio and go and jump in and do that. So that's just a wild change in the musical landscape to me.
Yeah.
And so Emily Adele kind of sparked that thought in me.
All right, cool.
You got any more wilds?
Yeah, just the room that I am now in.
Yeah, this room is
We're in Princeton, West Virginia. We're on tour. The podcast is on tour today.
It's a one-day tour.
Yeah, we have a beautiful audience in front of us. A busty audience, if you will. And this room it's a unique room. There's a lot of black and a lot of red and a lot of
Black and a lot of red.
a lot of reflective things.
Yeah.
And it's a listening room.
Yeah, it's a really cool little space.
It's a front as a listening room.
Yeah, so Princeton has this whole art revitalization that they've done here over the years, and
we're going to talk more about that in our next podcast.
Yeah, but this room is just one part of that experience, and
it's an experience.
It's a really cool little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you got on the verge of wonderful? You got anything wonderful?
I was really hoping you would go first.
Huh.
Because as you may or may not recall, and I'll add this to the wild, I'm supposed to be leading this segment of the podcast,
You're
and
correct.
you keep taking it from me.
That was wild.
So, wild is how you keep stealing my thunder on this segment of the podcast. So, why don't you tell us what your first wonderful is?
My first wonderful, and this has seemingly been a reoccurring theme since we launched the podcast after taking our hiatus.
What a hiatus it was.
Yeah. Is the color of the leaves. And I just always am amazed at this time of year in West Virginia how beautiful the hills, the mountains are. And they essentially look like they're on fire. And it's one of the best things about living in a state like this. And, you can say that about multiple states, but West Virginia is home to 83 different types of trees.
No way.
Yeah.
It's like another wild while it's a wonderful.
Yeah, we are one of the only states that can boast that. And so it's kind of cool for me to think about, when you look out at the mountains, you look out the hillsides, that half of all of that beautiful color and everything that's happening is because of the diversity of that. So yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that's part of my wonderfuls. What you got?
I just had a really good scone.
That was a good
here
scone.
at the, what is it called?
The
Dream Bean.
Dream Bean, yeah.
Is that what it's called in Princeton?
Yeah, that was a good scone.
Not all scones are created equal. I mean, sometimes you can get a really dry scone, like, I'm sorry, Starbucks. Their scones aren't great, I don't think. This was a good scone.
It
was, dare I say, a wonderful scone.
It was. That scone actually gave me some childhood memories of, and you may or may not have had this experience. Hardee's used to have biscuits that were these, they had blueberry and they had raisin biscuits. And it tasted very similar in texture and quality to those biscuits they used to have. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was part of the whole California raisins thing, like back in the day, if you remember the California raisins. Do you remember that? Or are you too young for that?
I think I might be. I mean, I usually like to joke that I'm too young for something you're talking about, but in this case, I think I might actually be too young to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they had this whole claymation thing with the California raisins, and they became...
Oh, no. I know what you're talking about.
But they became part of Hardee's. So
okay.
Hardee's
that
actually, it was
know.
a promotional thing with them, and they sold the little raisin toys.
Yeah.
And it was part of the biscuits that they were launching.
Fun.
And that just tasted a lot like that biscuit.
A scone tasted like a biscuit. Okay.
Yeah, just the
Our wonderfuls are pretty wild today, ladies and gentlemen.
They were a heavy biscuit. Like, they were thicker than,
All right.
But
May that never be said about me.
She's a heavier biscuit.
She's kind of a heavy biscuit. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Why don't you tell us? All right,
we are back from that laugh break. This has been
we took a laugh break.
Yeah. All right. So anyhow,
what's your next wonderful, Brendan Gallagher?
My next
co-host extraordinaire.
Oh, my next wonderful actually is an event we got to be a part of and help create in Princeton, West Virginia, this past weekend. It was just I love seeing community come out and be a part of something. And we had Dalcord there and we had Maximus there.
They were great.
And both artists were awesome. They did a great job. And there were just so many events across West Virginia that day, including Bridge Day and all things, that just really bring everybody out. And it's one of the things I love about West Virginia is that the way people get involved and go and do things and be a part of what's happening. So I think that's part of what makes us wonderful. What's your next one?
My next one is Matt Deal.
What about him?
I mean, we've always liked Matt Deal, but I'm on a Matt Deal kick right now, particularly because of this one song that I can't even remember what it's called. That's how much I like it. Too Often. It's called Too Often. And it's so good, and I'm like in this zone of like, I just kind of want to listen to that song again and again and again. So here's to you, Matt Deal.
Matt's vocal is so unique.
And I like that. Like, I like Nirvana. I like Brandy Carlisle and the story when she's like, and he's got some of that happening, and the song itself is really good. And I'm really on a Matt Deal kick.
And it's fair.
It's wonderful.
He's really good.
Too Often by Matt Deal. Go look it up.
Check it out. Okay. So that is our wrap on our Wild and Wonderful.
All right. So you recently had an interesting conversation. Yes? Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah. So I got to talk to a graphic designer who actually did our poster for the Shindy Festival.
Which was also wonderful and wild.
Yeah. It was
both.
Yeah, it was both.
I mean, usually one or the other is great, but when you get them together...
Yeah, the gentleman's name is Heath Holley. Hey, he's also the singer in a band called Massing out of Huntington. And we had a conversation around the topic of AI and how it impacts his world. And I know that you and I have touched a little bit on AI in some previous episodes, but we come from an interesting world where AI is part of our jobs. And so, there seems to be a world in which you are either pro AI or anti AI, and that there's really no room for any nuance outside of those two perspectives. And I think we kind of come from a perspective of, well, no, it's not all bad.
Right.
It's not all good.
Right.
We hit on our previous episode, we talked a little bit about the actress that was all AI generated, and how that's not okay. But there are instances where AI could be used to, as long as family is okay with it, to revitalize.
Yeah, the Princess Leia thing you said.
Yeah, so...
Right. But I also think the reason sometimes it's a tricky conversation, AI is used heavily in my place of business, but it's technology related,
right? And
the average person, their acquaintance with AI is art related.
Right.
So we kind of have like an unequivocal, is that the word, conversation around AI, because it's like, if I were talking to somebody, like if I were just suspending the art side of me for a moment and I was talking to somebody about AI from like the perspective of what my company does versus somebody talking about versus talking to like a graphic designer friend, like we're almost not having the same conversation at that point because they're two different disciplines.
Right.
So, I think it's fair to say, and the other thing I think I brought up in a previous episode is you can't copyright AI. So if you make an image right now, quote unquote, make an image right now in AI, you can't go copyright that image, which I think is a good thing.
Yep.
But I think you touched on this very topic of art and AI in this conversation we're about to unveil.
Yeah.
That it offers an interesting perspective in that regard.
Right. And there's worlds. I mean, so I had a doctor's appointment a couple of months ago, and it was...
How'd it go?
It was fine, but I had never experienced this where the doctor came in with an iPad, and he said...
Did he record it?
He said, this is going to... As we were talking, it put our entire conversation into notes in real time.
Right. More time with the patient.
Exactly. And he was like, so this is going to, and he goes, all I have to do is hit upload when we're done here.
Yeah, I encountered some of that this summer as well.
And it was like, wow, that's crazy to think how much that has lessened his load to be able to allow him to see more patients and not focus on the paperwork, computer side of things.
Because that could make you feel impatient. And here is our guest.
Yeah, so at this point in time, we're going to welcome in our guest, Heath Holley, and let you hear a little bit of the conversation that I had with him. Heath is a musician out of the Huntington area. He's in a band called Massing, and he also is a graphic designer. We've had the opportunity at Born and Bred to use some of his work this past summer, and we can state 100% that it greatly impacted the overall feel of our festival. Welcome onto the show, Heath.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your background in graphic design, how you got started, and how long you've been doing it.
I've been sort of just drawing like my whole life. I think my parents told me that like the first things I ever drew were like Woody and Buzz from Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
And like growing up, I always said that I wanted to be an illustrator. And then, like as I got older, it sort of transitioned to like, oh, I want to be an animator, but that education is very expensive.
Yeah.
So I stayed in town, went to Marshall University, got a degree in graphic design, and now that's pretty much what I do. But most of my like personal work is pretty illustrative, so I get to flex a couple muscles with it.
Awesome. So I wanted to talk to you about AI and how that's impacting the work you do. So as a graphic designer, how do you approach, collaborating with your clients and, doing what you love to do? And then also, what is it that you do that sets you apart from what somebody might be getting out of AI?
Well, I think for me personally, one of the sort of blessings that I have is that I have a hard time not drawing something that looks like I drew it. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a hard time like getting out of my own sort of like stylistic bubble, which is mostly a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. So when people come to me, they usually want something that looks like something Heath did,
Right.
Collaboratively, more and more when someone comes to me with stuff, a lot of the times it will be like, oh, here's a concept that we came up with AI. And, like my first impression of that is usually like, oh, this is cheesy little AI like graphic that they made or whatever. But I'm just appreciative that they use that as a tool and sought out an artist to complete something. You know what I mean?
Right. So there's a good example of how AI can be beneficial. Like, what are you actually wanting here? Because a lot of times,
yeah.
I know for us, we told you, hey, here's our colors. Do what you want. And first thing you said, I was like, okay, that's freaking brilliant. So we're good. There is some benefit to being able to have somebody say, I kind of want to look like this, but I want it to not have 8 fingers on its hands. So that is a good example of how AI can be beneficial for somebody in your work. So in your experience, what are some of the more significant ethical or professional challenges you've observed artists facing right now, particularly things like copyright, compensation, portfolio credibility, because so many people are using AI. And are you seeing just for some of those things you're seeing, those challenges that you're seeing with that stuff?
I am not like popular or well known enough of an artist to feel like I have been personally victimized by AI in the sense that like it's being trained on my artwork.
Right.
I don't know what the scope of that is yet, like with like what AI is being trained on and how much of anyone's art is really like getting pumped into generated images. But I think one of the big talking points about AI right now is just like its effect on the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not you have that sort of like environmentalist dread about like power consumption, water usage, you should have that dread about your electric bill.
Right.
Like if your demand is exceeding the supply, which it is, like we have to constantly be like upping the AI facilities to meet the demand of the power needed to do all this AI. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
they
having
are.
a hard time talking about it. I'm at my aunt's house on vacation right now, and there's a fountain that keeps going on and off. Sorry if there's a bunch of sound. But yeah, like demand is exceeding the supply, and that will just raise everybody's electric bills. It's already happening.
Yeah, so actually,
That's something that everyone should be worried about for sure.
there is actually a major economic development boom and I hate to use those words as though it's a good thing. I don't know that it is a good thing, of cooling stations essentially being built along rivers in West Virginia. And server rooms basically is how I understand it. So yeah, you're right. That stuff is going to impact us, impact our state. And there are many factors in regards to AI that people don't consider. I read somewhere just telling AI it got something wrong it uses so many gallons of water it's insane. So have you experienced yet, maybe not, that you've had to convince somebody of the need to work with you versus AI?
There's definitely been like a couple smaller jobs. That's where I find it happens the most frequently is when someone is like reaching out to me like, hey, we want you to do this, small project. And maybe one of those situations where they're like, here's some stuff that we came up with on an AI image generator. Can you show us some of your ideas based off of this? And I'd be like, yeah, here's some ideas a week or two later. And maybe they're not happy with those because that's another thing is like AI, whether or not it's, arguably an artistic source of whatever, this is so hard to talk about, but like,
yeah, you're good.
Whether or not you like AI, I guess is a better way to put it. It does create like some images that are passable as like a logo or as like an illustration that you might not want to look at for too long or else you start noticing the fingers and stuff. But like, if you're just making like, oh, I need a logo for this thing and you don't super care, like that will make a passable logo. And so when I make something that looks like Heath made it, that might not be what you want because your expectations were based on these AI images you created. So there have been a couple jobs where I've like followed up on their concept art that they generated with AI and they didn't like what I made and decided to go with the AI instead. Those have all been pretty small jobs and I kind of just shrugged it off like, whatever, have fun with your AI generated images. But yeah, I've had that experience a couple times.
Yeah. So, but isn't art now? You may not know this, and that's fine. But there are conversations around. Okay, cool. You did your logo on AI, but you actually don't own it. Whereas working with you can actually sign over copyright and purchase it from you. Where if you design something on AI and your logo is for your restaurant, another restaurant can 100% use that same logo, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that side of the argument.
Yeah, there's a whole conversation around copyright ownership of AI produced images and that you actually don't own that copyright. So you can generate your logo through it, but you don't own it. So yeah. That's where the benefit
and that might not even, what was it?
And that's where the benefit of working with you is that you actually get something that somebody generated, you're helping the local economy, and you own it.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, like, for some of these smaller jobs, people probably aren't even concerned about that. But
true, it's true.
For bigger, like you're trying to build a brand or something, you should definitely be worried about not owning your logo or your designs in general.
Absolutely. When I first started working with my graphic designer who helped me with everything with Born and Bred back in 2018. That was one of the first things that, I did was I wanted this all to be original design and our design and nothing that anybody else had. And, and then have all that copyrighted and all that. And so, as we build that brand, we have multiple views of that logo and things like that, he has done all that work for us. And if I hadn't worked for him, I wouldn't be able to piece out certain parts of that logo. If I had done it through AI, I wouldn't be able to be like, oh, I just want to use the font. I don't necessarily want to use the whole logo, things like that, where he was able to send us all of those different things in different files and formats where you don't get that in AI. You get your logo and it's a flat image and you don't really have any playroom with it. So that's where I think there's a lot of benefit to working with somebody who can actually help you piece that out and give you all of the little parts of that logo. So
and one of the scary things is that like maybe in 5-10 years, maybe less, you might be able to do that with AI. Like, prompt like, this is what I want out of my logo, and also I want like the isolated elements of all of it so that I can do whatever I want with it. Like I think that will be something that AI can probably do in the future.
Yeah, eventually. I think you're probably right, but as of right now, no. So yeah, but so looking ahead, how do you see the role of the graphic designer evolving? To ensure that traditional artists remain essential to this ecosystem of, graphic design. How do you see that role changing over time?
I ask myself that question pretty frequently these days.
Yeah.
And I don't totally know, because sometimes I feel like an old man, and I'm 28, but right. I start thinking about how like these tools aren't going anywhere, and they're only going to get more developed, more efficient as we go. It's the same thing that always happens, like with computers in general, with technology in general. I think that more and more artists, like especially as artists are being born and raised into this age of AI, like they're going to be using it.
Right.
And it makes me feel old to think that like I'm fighting it so hard, but it's also, it just feels wrong to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like to take advantage of AI, it feels like I'm dipping my toes in some evil or something.
So that's a good question then. Should graphic artists, designers be fighting it, or should they be getting ahead of it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that like there should be some sort of like creative ethical code or something. Like for me, I think that using AI as a tool along the process, and I mean, like the context is so important, because like, certain things are definitely a little bit more slimy than others, but like using AI images to show me like what you want out of, your design project here, like that's fine by me. I don't care about that.
Right.
If I were generating like AI images to put in a client's design, that's wrong. That doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. But also like, I watch these guys on YouTube sometimes called Corridor Crew, and it's just like this facility full of like VFX artists that work on movies and shows and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they do like breakdowns on like how like back in the day you'd get a DVD and they would have like bonus features of the people that worked on all of the visual effects.
Oh yeah.
It's basically that, but okay. It's like really in depth and they're funny and blah, 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 blah. But they, you kind of get an insight to like what AI is looking like in that industry. And it's mostly like tools, like we right. use this thing that just automatically does something that would have taken us 2 weeks to do. It's still like our visual effect and our animation, but like this AI just made it faster to do.
Right.
And that's what it's for. Like that's what AI should be for, like making stuff more efficient, making, like just a workflow easier, but it shouldn't be producing,
Right.
quote unquote art.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, so I've been talking to you about the graphic design aspect of things, and but real quick before we wrap up here, as a musician, and we both do music, and I have recently encountered a artist that she actually writes her music. She writes all the lyrics and everything, but then puts it into an AI program that actually uses her voice. It's her voice samplings to create the song. So she has the song, and it sounds like a done song. I actually got to hear one of these, and I was blown away by the final product. But what she's doing, and I think this kind of plays into a lot of what you've alluded to, is then she's taking that to a studio and saying, "This is the song, but I want to make it real." Like, I don't want it to be this AI generated version. I want to redo all the music. I want to sing the parts and everything like that. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, wow, I never even considered that as a possibility where she's doing it all. She's creating it. And it's her lyrics and it's her baby. But like, and part of me is like, I don't know that I could do that. But I also,
Yeah. Like, well, who do you give the writing credit to for writing the instrumental of the song,
right. Because all she's doing is picking the key and telling it what she wants the song to feel like. And here's the bridge, here's the verse, da 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 da. But it's still, she didn't write the music. And so it's like, man, that, but I do think that that's probably going to be what happens a lot.
I'm sure that that's probably already happening.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are like top 40 pop hits that are being generated via AI and then just reproduced.
Yeah.
By a real person.
Yeah. It feels, it feels like it bypasses a lot of the creative process that makes a song your own. And that's what I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that, 10 years from now, that's going to be the majority of how young musicians are making their music. So it's kind of like you got to decide, are you going to go kicking and screaming into that long night, or are you going to maybe figure out a way to utilize some of this to benefit you down the road? I don't know. It's a long conversation. It's a hard conversation. I didn't figure we would come up with any solutions today, but I did want to pick your brain on just how it's impacting you and how it feels to you as a musician and an artist. So yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, I just want to, not to leave on a absurdly profound note, but I think humans are capable of pushing things like art and music forward, coming up with new ideas. Like we have some sort of strange like inner access to be able to do that. I don't think that AI, like generating a song with AI, generating art with AI, is ever going to push the like the zeitgeist of art and music forward. It's going to be able to make something that we're familiar enough with to enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Perfect ending to this conversation, Heath. I really appreciate you taking time. Check out Heath on social media. You can find his band Massing. It's on all social media, and make sure to give him a follow. And if you are looking for graphic work, please check out Heath or one of the other amazing artists that exist in the state who are doing this stuff on a regular basis. There are so many amazing graphic designers that you can be working with. And Heath, appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much to Heath for joining us, and
that was great.
Appreciate you having that conversation with us. Make sure to check out Massing. You can find them on every streaming platform. Great music, fun music, and just really, really good stuff. So So anyhow, AI, it's a tricky conversation, and there's no easy answer to any of it. But I think
if you're not sure how you feel about AI, just chat GPT for an opinion.
How am I supposed to feel about you? I would highly recommend learning about it. You don't have to necessarily use it, but definitely learn about it and how it has definitely made certain aspects of certain parts of life easier. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into our podcast today. And, pause. Real quick before we get out of here, what are you listening to, Maria?
Well, obviously Matt Deal, because he was one of my wonderfuls. Also was jamming a little to Rhett Madison earlier, and as well as Dalcord.
Yeah. So I was listening to, yesterday there were some great new releases. Checked out some new music from Emily Adele with the song Thankful. And there was new music from Teammate and a couple other bands. I was checking that stuff out yesterday. A band I used to listen to back in the day called Small Town Poets put out a new EP that I checked out. There's a lot of great stuff that I've been listening to recently. So also been on a Mumford & Sons kick because I am a believer in seasonal music. Mm-hmm. And they are definitely a fall.
They're a fall, yeah.
I mean, I'll listen to them any time of the year if they come on. But
Yeah.
I get into a mood to listen to them.
Cool.
So anyhow, all right. Well, thank you so much for checking out our podcast, and we will see you next time.
Thank you once again for Haunting Hill,
Yeah.
to Haunting Hill for being our sponsor today.
Yeah.
And we'll see you at the next one.